All right, another week around the trash fire. Your host, Matthias. Oh, I'm with the boy.
Jean.
How was your turkey day?
It was good. It was good. Some 30K happened in between, so
God, you're like a machine.
yes.
Doing 30K on turkey day?
Not Turkey Day, but Turkey Week end.
Oh, okay. Then it's a little better.
Yes.
I was like, God damn,
Don't think
man.
I have it Turkey Day.
Let's say, goddamn, machine right here. 30K running through your veins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we got lots to talk about, and we got some kind of big news that was happening today. That well, I wouldn't say every, some of the channels that I follow are freaking out about a
Ooh.
potential
Ooh.
rumor coming out.
Love this stuff.
So I figured we'd look at the classic blurry image that GW produces, and then we're gonna see if if GW has made the perfect system of finding the right GW gift. And then sprinkled in some little Star Wars news that's what would you say, 2-3 weeks old now?
Yeah, it's a few weeks old, but I think now is the time where we got time to talk about it after the Warhammer preview and stuff.
Yeah, last week was crazy, a little bit rushed, but had to get through it all.
Yes. Had to get through it all.
But of course, we're gonna do what we always do and start from the beginning here. Sunday preview, and here we go. We got ourselves the last week was fantasy or AOS, I mean, and now this week is 40K. And we're
Yes.
getting the all the box sets coming in.
$210 for these because that's how much the AOS ones are. Unless they decide to screw the 40K players and just charge more for some reason, or praise the 40K players and charge less. But doubt that either of those are going to happen. So expected price is going to be 210.
210, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, mm, it's kind of what I expected. I would hope for cheaper, but given how two-player box sets usually go, that makes sense.
Yeah. Plus, these are all full kits.
They are.
Yep. No easy builds here.
Got all that. Still going through it because I think we have like 8 of these. I do like how the Imperial Fist and the Raven Guard have like special art on them,
Yeah, that's interesting.
and the rest are just just the models on the box set. What do you think that's all about? Just because it's Space Marines?
Edition confirmed.
I mean, we'll get to that. But yeah, just those 2 boxes don't show what's on it. I mean, for the Raven Guard, I understand because who wants Reaver? So let's be real here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there we go. We got that. Um, we're also getting the Adeptus Mechanicus character from Blackstone Fortress, finally being sold on his own. If I recall, he was pretty big when he first came out.
Yeah, I remember this guy. I want him for my Mechanicum for 30K for sure.
Yeah, the flamethrower chick from Blackstone Fortress. I just bought her off eBay because
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to buy the Blackstone Fortress box set.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, definitely not. At least not to me. Worth it for just the model. This model.
yeah. So it's interesting because I don't think, have the rest of the Blackstone Fortress models been sold separately or no? I don't think so,
I
right?
don't think so. I think it's just this guy.
Well, this guy, and I think there's one more. There's one other model that's been sold separately. I just can't remember.
Mm, probably the Road Trader. I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's what I want to say, but I can't. I cannot remember. Anyways, this guy's coming out. I don't really know how he plays anymore. I don't think
Yeah,
he's really taken anymore. I know last edition he was, because he gave a couple buffs that were pretty nice.
right. I mean, if anything, he could just be a cool tech priest to use, but yeah, I'm not sure if he still has rules in the codex.
I'm sure he does. We'll just have to look.
Okay.
Anyways, he's coming out. Warhammer Quest. We're getting the Nemesis web exclusive. Uh, Stuff being sold,
I
I
hate
guess.
this.
It end comes to an end with the final expansion.
Yeah, and the fine print. No, read the last sentence for me, my friend.
All right, I'll read the last sentences. You'll need previous expansions and the required miniatures to play.
What the hell? I'm mad.
Not a standalone game anymore.
Yep. I mean, even if you didn't need the previous expansion, I'm sorry, even if you needed the previous expansion, I'm kind of fine with that. Like an expansion to an expansion, like sure, it's kind of weird, but sure. But you need minis to play this. There's no tokens or anything. It's like you need the actual minis to play. And looking at remembering the article, I'm looking at the cards in the picture. There's direwolves, a necromancer, graveguard, white king, vargeist. That's like almost $200 worth of minis you need to play.
Yeah, that's when you just go to your local game store and you just buy the Grim Reaper models. Is that what they're is that what
Oh,
those
the
D&D
Reaper.
meters? Huh?
Reaper.
Yeah, Reaper. There you go. Buy the
Actually,
Reaper
speaking of
models.
Reaper, rest in peace. The founder of Reaper just passed away recently, so I remember that was
Oh,
news in the wargaming world. So
oh, that's very sad.
yeah,
I did not know
but yeah,
that.
Reaper miniatures are great for stupid cheap minis that look. I mean, the quality is not that good, but they look like the thing they represent, and if that's what you need, then they're great for that.
I have a couple of Reaper minis. I mean, I don't use them for like tabletop or anything, but there are some very good, well sculpted models out there.
Yeah, because even like obviously Warhammer models are the best, but sometimes you don't need this amazingly sculpted, super detailed skeleton for your D&D skeleton, right? Maybe you just need a skeleton, and great for that.
Yes. Though I must say, I am very disappointed in Curse City. I feel like they could have done so much more with it.
Yeah.
So much more. And all they had to do was plagiarize Shatters of Brimstone. I mean, I'm sure there's better dungeon crawlers out there, but since that's the only one I'm really familiar with, they could have just stole from that and just made a made a lot more out of this. But I guess Warhammer Quest is mainly what, just you would look at it like a short story kind of board games.
Yeah, I mean it passes the is this a dungeon crawler test, and it has all the elements it has of a dungeon crawler, but it's not a very good dungeon crawler. Like the minis carry the box for sure. I got the box because of the minis, and I use them for my Vampire Counts army.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I didn't, like it's kind of like how Blackstone Fortress, you get that box for the minis because the minis are amazing. It's not a box you get for the game because the game is not worth that price tag. There, if you just want a good game with okay miniatures, there's much better games out there, including Shadows of Brimstone. Descent is another good one. Star Wars Imperial Assault. Those are other good um
Dungeon
dungeon
crawlers.
crawler games that are way better games. No, not Curse of City isn't bad. It's just overshadowed as a game by all these other games.
Yeah, because I remember when this first came out, I was really hyped for it. Really wanted to get it. But as I let it sit there and expansion after expansion comes out, it's not what I want. I think it's the
Right.
fact that they didn't add any new models. They just added like,
Yeah.
VAR guys. I mean, it's cool because if you have those armies, you get more use out of
Exactly.
it. But
Like I would get use out of this for sure, but it's just lame because I have all these minis, but it's just kind of lame that you need them, you know?
yeah, I mean, this is the third expansion. Is that correct?
I think so, second or third expansion. Something like that. I think it's a third, yeah.
It's not the second. I know that much. So
Okay, so it's
it
the third.
has to be
Not
the
the fourth
third.
for sure. Yeah.
Third expansion, and we got no new minis.
Yeah. And I kind of feel that Crescent City was slated to get minis, but the debacle of the release, how they ran out of they stopped selling it because their board game or sorry, their cardboard supplier got hit by the COVID, the the shipping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So which forced the game to stop being produced. And I kind of feel that some of those Vampire Counts minis were supposed to be. I mean, me and Will are convinced that some of those Soul Blight minis, like the Rat Prince and stuff, were supposed to be Cursed City expansion minis. Radakar for sure, because that's straight up a Cursed City. He's a Cursed City character.
Mm-hmm.
That's for an expansion. But yeah, where they were supposed to be Cursed City expansions, but because of the botched release, it's kind of awkward selling an expansion to a game you don't sell. And they probably just repurposed them as Vampire Counts minis. And then once the cardboard people could make cardboard, now you have all these kind of half-assed expansions where you need the minis for them.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah, it's absolutely a damn shame.
I think it could have been good. It's such a good setting and everything.
Yeah, classic gothic Warhammer horror dungeon crawler with amazing minis, but bad timing.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from Cursed City because we've been on it for quite a while there.
Yeah.
Necromunda. Before we get to the minis, I'd like to say I think Necromunda had a great year. I feel like every month or every 2 weeks there was a new Necromunda thing. And that was just they got a lot of love.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for a game where, Necromunda was the game where when it came out, well, when the re-release came out, it was super hype, and then in the back of all our minds, it was like, okay, once they update all the gangs, the game's done, right? And for a while, that was kind of the mentality of once the final codex came out for, I think it was, gosh, I forget if it was Vansar or COD, or I think it was Vansar, but after that came out, it's like, well, the game's done, right? But Ash Waste came in, all the Ash Wasters, the vehicles, and like what Matt said, all these releases, constant releases for Necro, proving that you could that the game has a lot of potential. There's limitless potential with the universe. That this game that was supposed to be this dark, dank Underhive that had this dark, dank Underhive setting for a skirmish game had a feature with the wastelands of the setting where they had vehicles, they had creatures, they had new terrain, a new faction with the Ash Basters, and then there's this new campaign and all that. Yeah, Necromunda definitely having a great year.
Yeah. It's amazing, and I'm glad it's still going strong.
Yep.
But at this point, I feel like it's almost a main. What would I say? One of GW's main.
One of the main games. I
Main
mean, it's
games.
definitely the most supported specialist game for sure. It's Blood Bowl is getting a lot of support, but this is getting way more support than Blood Bowl.
Yeah, Blood Bowl gets something. Seems to get something every month, every other month kind of deal. But Necromunda has at least. It's always in at least once a month. Sometimes twice. I mean, it all depends on their schedule that they want to release. Oh, yeah. The only downside of Necromunda is a lot of these models we've seen so long ago and just now coming out.
Yeah, because it is a specialist game. The releases are way less frequent compared to 40K.
Yes. And so let's get into it. We got the Escher Cutters, the jet bikes coming in. Interesting to see how these will play in a base game Necromunda, not Ash Ways. Because I assume you'd be able to take this.
Oh, you can. Normal. So stuff like these are classified as vehicles, so you can only use them in Ash Wastes.
Ash Waste. So these are classified as vehicles?
Yeah.
Okay then. Never mind. My dream of playing Jack 3 is over.
Oh, rip.
So we got that. We got the cards. Dice, who cares about that? This character in his little gargoyle coming out. This is the bodyguard, if I recall, right? Of the the main
Yeah.
girl.
Yep, the bodyguard of the head of House Escher.
Sure. She's now finally coming out in all her glory. We got the what do you call these things? The specialist of Escher, the hired guns
Yep.
coming out again. A really long time ago. The poison blade lady and the was the Oracle or something like that. Shriver.
Schreiber. Yep. Shiver. Excuse me.
Talking about these models so long ago.
Yeah.
They're coming out. I believe I want to say we talked about these ones in like August. That's how long it's been. It was late August, early September. That's what I'm going to stick with.
I believe it. It was a while ago.
Moving on, we got the Goliath, Gorshiv Hammerfist.
Gorshiv Hammerfist.
Another good looking model. So cool, all of it. Nice. We got the Ash Waste upgrades for the Escher gang. These guys we talked about last week. The Wheeler dealers, the Underhive traders.
Super cool. At least the guy on the left.
I'm more of a guy in the front, but that's just me. And then we got the Iron Crawler coming in as well, which we talked about last week as well, but that was released like 2 weeks ago. There we go. Everything is coming together now, finally. And just more and more stuff for Necromunda to play with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And now we go to Black Library. Got the Gotrek collectors collection of books. So a little I assume this is AOS Gotrek.
Yes, this is AOS Gotrek, Ghoul Slayer, and the other two books whose titles elude me.
And you've not read any of these, right?
No, I'm actually listening to essentially the prequel to these, which are it's when Gotrek finds himself in the old world. I think it's called Realm Slayer, and it's pretty good. I'm liking it so far. And it's like, I think I mentioned this before, but kind of like how Gotrek Old World was Gotrek exploring the old world. The new Gotrek books is Gotrek exploring the Age of Sigmar world, and it does give you a lot of insight into the Age of Sigmar world.
All right, then. Well, there you go. Get your special collector's edition there. Got the eShort subscription for Advent 2022. Hammer of Sigmar. Book becoming softcover, digital, and audiobook. We got Heirs of the Emperor, an anthology book. So, is this brand new, or is this all just gonna be short stories?
This is new. I'm actually interested to seeing what these are because it's Primarch stuff. So, yeah, I might check this out. We'll see.
All right, got some audiobooks. Got God of Mars, Orc Slayer, and Rin World.
Rin's World, that's a classic.
Yeah,
That's actually the one that straight up has like evil orcs, where the orcs are not effing around; they are evil. Like they torture people and stuff. Orc Slayer is I'm gonna listen to that because it's another Godric and Felix one, and it is John. And hope it's Jonathan Keeble because it's been Jonathan Keeble so far. So
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure he's paid to do a lot of the books. Yeah, and then we got Mortarion going into Germany. And then Warhammer Plus. We're getting Interrogator Final Cut. I assume that's just going to be Interrogator all in one sitting. Age of Sigmar. We got a battle report for Warcry. And Lore Master of the Astra Militarum. So all good stuff coming for next week and this week.
Yep.
Man, oh
Black
man.
Library.
Man, oh man, that was a thing to do. Oh yes. And then at the very bottom here, there is a Black Library preview.
What are your predictions for these?
My predictions would be wrong because I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to go for. If I had a hope, I want another Necron book.
That's very possible because the previous two ones were very, very well received.
Yes, I
Very
can only
possible.
speak for Trazon. Was it The Infinite and Divine?
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to read or listen to a Twice Dead King Ruin because it's not the same guy. I believe it's someone different.
It's
Yeah,
yeah, Ice Lake King is different, but that was also very well received.
yeah. So I would hope for another Necron book because I would like to go back into it. If I had to guess, I would assume something for Horus Heresy, right?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, that leads to my two predictions. My two predictions are they're going to reveal the final Siege of Terra. Gosh, actually, let me rephrase that. I hope it's the final Siege of Terra book. I hope they don't pull some trilogy crap to cap the series. I would be pissed. And you'll hear it here. So I hope they enhance the part two finale to the final book by Dan Abnett.
You know what they're gonna do, right?
They're gonna do a trilogy. My gosh.
They're gonna do what they did with the movies, Twilight and Harry Potter. They're gonna be like, Siege of Terra, final book part 1 is being sold now, and then you'll have to wait for Siege of Terra, final book part 2 later in the year.
So that we know, but it's the part three that scares me. If they're gonna make a part three, I hope it's just part one, part two.
So
No,
wait,
because
they are doing a part 2,
they
part
have
1, part
confirmed
2.
they're at least doing a part two, and I hope they're at most doing part two and not doing a part three.
God damn, how big is this book gonna be?
I don't know. Good question. Like, what else is there? Like, seriously, rant time. But what else is there? Like the last book, Echoes, has Sanguinius versus Kabanda, which is the last big famous thing. In the lore summaries and the codexes. Like, the only thing that needs to be covered is the final battle between the Emperor and Horus. Like, does it really need to be two books? I guess there's
Yes.
the perpetual crap with John Grammaticus and friends, but like, does it need to be two books?
Yes,
I don't
because
know.
we need a whole book dedicated to the one guardsman that jumps in front of the Emperor before Horus strikes him down,
Oh yeah, Alana's yeah, yeah. He is coming. He is there.
You're gonna need a whole book on him and his
God,
life story.
it sucks because that party is, in my opinion, the worst part of the Siege of Terra novels.
I don't know
It's
anything you're
it,
talking about.
yeah. So essentially, that guy talking about, he's in a D&D party with John Grammaticus and some other people trying to meet the Emperor to do something. It's not revealed what they're gonna do, but they're gonna do something with the Emperor, and yeah, I don't know. They better wrap that up because it is not that interesting in my opinion. So
Good to
I
know.
hope they announce that, and they're probably going to announce the final Primarch novel, which is going to be Horus, because he's the only one left.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they should probably maybe announce another Gotrek book. Hopefully, it's the one where he meets Felix. So, and on top of that, they're going to announce the miniatures available for Black Library 2023. Hopefully, it's more 30K stuff.
My prediction: Caiaphas Cain and his
That
lackey,
would that would be cool if he was in plastic. I would pick him up.
just to give the IG more models
Yeah,
and a good commissar car Yark replacement.
yeah, right. I'd be cool with that.
That's what I would hope for, but yeah, my prediction, just another Necron book. I don't even want to give an AOS because honestly I can't get into the AOS books. I don't know why. Just can't get into them.
That's fair.
I tried with the Legion of Nagash or something like that. What's that book?
Undying King.
Nagash the Undying King,
Yeah,
and Soul Wars. I couldn't get into it.
that's fair.
Not for me. But I know it's for you, John. Heresy Thursday.
Heresy Thursday.
And we are
And
got
for
our
you too. For you too, Matt.
we got our Thousand Suns, and I must say, I don't like it.
Yeah, it this is one of those things that if I was waiting to build my stuff for the upgrade, I would be mad. But I'm glad that I didn't do that. Yeah, it's kind of sucks.
It reminds me of the Ultramarines that we reviewed last week. The only
Yeah,
difference is, they got the little soul gem on their head,
yeah. If
and
the
that's it.
soldier was kind of fancier, where they had like a kind of crown thing, like if you look at the picture of the marine, the full body, you could see he's kind of like a there's like a crown thing on his forehead. It's not just a gem, it's a crown. I hope they're all like that, but they're not. If they're all like that, I would like it, but yeah, the other six are just kind of like the Ultramarines, where there's a minor design change, which yeah, not that cool.
Even the bear helmet is just like a normal guy.
Yeah, not even anything special with his design.
Yeah. So like I said, very disappointed in this. I wouldn't want this. I want the headdresses that the Chaos Thousand Sun have. Okay, now
That would
that's
those
some
are
real drip right there.
and it's 30 we have 30K models like that. The Contemptor Assyrion and the Scarab Occult, the 30K version of Scarab Occult, both have those headdresses. So I'm not sure why it wasn't like that. So
I don't know, but
well,
I'm sure it's 30K lore accurate. I'm sure someone will tell me below about how uh the Thousand Suns never had those headdresses until they went 40K or Chaos. I mean,
which is also complete bollocks because we have 30K models that have them.
uh,
But yeah, I'm sure someone's gonna say that when you know. Anyways, the shoulder pads have trim, so they suck. End of comment.
I would actually want these. I don't know. Would these fit the current Thousand
Yeah,
Suns? No.
no, they would. They would.
I would want these.
Okay. Yeah, they are kind of holding up to the old logo.
As someone who doesn't use the decals and who cannot freehand the sun, I would like these
Yeah.
instead of having just like a plain white. But then again, actually, they do have designs on them. Now that I'm thinking about it, the shoulder pads for Thousand Suns do have designs, not like this, but
Right, they do have something.
these aren't that bad. The gold trim, an F in John's book.
Yes, no trim. There's other shoulder pads that have trim. I don't need more.
Yeah, I agree. I don't need any more gold trim after painting my Thousand Suns last year. But that is Heresy Thursday. Moving on to New Model Monday. I must say, I mean, we were just talking about Necromunda and how they keep coming out with great stuff. And oh my god, this model. I want it. What can I say?
Yeah, I also want this. This is super cool. This is so 40K. And it's also new for Necromunda because this is a very important character. This is the opposite of Necromunda being about the random losers no one cares about, because this is the daughter of the Imperial Governor, or one of the 13th child of the Imperial Governor that rules Necromunda. So she is important, and she's the one leading the rebellion, which is detailed in the Cinderak Burning campaign book.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of one of the main players there, and she has a model, which is shocking to say the least. But the model looks amazing. Little servo skulls there carrying her fancy cloak.
Yeah. I I'm lost for words. I think this is probably the best model produced so far for Necromunda.
I agree. She's definitely top 3.
And you know what the worst part is?
She's resin.
She's resin.
Yes,
That's
she is.
the worst part.
Yes, sad face.
Oh my god. It kills me inside, man. Luckily, I know someone who could probably give me something pretty good and cheap.
It's kind of funny because looking at the lore, she has a phase sword, which is the weapon of a Calidus assassin, and someone is like, that doesn't make any sense. How could she get the weapon of a Calidus? Like only Calidus can have that. And the top comment was like, well, dude, she's rich. Like she's like really rich. She plays by her own rules.
Yes, I do remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Plays by her own rules. But yeah, there we go.
Super cool.
Lady Hera. Definite model to get. And you know what? I think you could easily fit her in a Sisters of Battle army.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For you sister players out there.
As like a rogue trader or something. Or yeah, as a sister, because she has armor. Looks like power armor.
Mm-hmm. Very cool model.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna use her for my solar ox as my solar ox.
See,
What's
there
it
you
called?
go.
Lord Marshall. There we go. Bam.
Now, John, have you
Yes.
been hearing this rumor of Dark Angels?
No, I have not.
So I sent you a blurry picture via the Reddit. And yeah, this is what happened. This is in the trailer that they released for the 3 books of Arcs of Omen campaign. And if you slowly go through the footage and you pause it on this 1 second here, people, I know it's really hard to see with the lens flare, but people are saying this red outline right here is a new Azrael model. That's what people are claiming. That GW teased a new Azrael model. They're saying that this is the Rock Besieged. So everything's looking like Dark Angels coming up on this on the 3rd Arcs of Omen book.
I could see that.
So does that mean the lion might be actually coming? Because that's
Yeah.
that's what everyone says every year. The lion's next. The lion's coming. He's gonna wake up.
Yeah, I think the Lion will be the next Loyalist Primarch. Because the other option is Lehman Russ. Maybe Nah, I think the Lion's more likely. Because the Lion has the least consequences for story. I mean, because the Codex says he's awake. I'm sorry. The Codex says he's alive. He's just sleeping. He needs to awake. But yeah, I think it's very possible for 10th edition to have the Lion coming back. That would be super cool.
Yeah, well, it's probably what the Arcs of Omen are gonna be. It's gonna be the build up to the lion coming out.
Oh, you mean how the past campaign for like AOS and 40k led to an edition changed?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Broken Realms, Vigilus Burning.
True. But it'll be interesting to see if the lion's gonna come out. I'm sure with this book, it'll be. It wouldn't be a starter set, right? They don't put special characters in starter sets.
No, they haven't done that. Actually, for AOS they did. They had that late female Sanguinius, but it was only her for Stormcast. The orcs didn't get a named character. They just got a generic lord. It's
Okay.
possible. I mean, I can see them doing that. To be quite
Yeah,
honest.
but you know what? This being the 3rd book and the 4th book was teased,
Yeah.
I doubt it. Never mind.
However, yeah, to your point, one thing will has mentioned is that Games Workshop is very hesitant to make specific factions or sub factions, excuse me, in starter sets after they did Dark Angels in like the 6th edition and 7th edition boxes. I mean, Death Guard is Death Guard, but it's not like they featured specific Death Guard with the specific faction logo, because Death Guard have sub factions, and obviously the Space Marines are all blank, and the Necrons as well. There's no sculpted Zarakon Tomb World symbols. There's no sculpted Ultramarine symbols. They're all generic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think they'll have that kind of special character for the starter set, because I think they want to avoid that, because it defeats the purpose of paint your minis as any way you want kind of thing when you have a specifically colored chapter. I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, I'm gonna paint my Lion or Azrael into a different Dark Angels chapter color because this will Dark Angels. Well, okay, but if you're shutting off the Fist players, the Ultramarine players, the Blood Angel players, Black Templar players to the set for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's probably gonna be blank. Not gonna have special characters in the box.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, those Archangel models in 6th edition were top notch.
Oh yeah, they were great for the time.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, generic versus generic. I wonder what it'll be. Obviously, Space Marines versus something. But
Yeah.
now, John, the holidays are coming. And did you know GW has something to help you find the perfect gift for your friend?
Oh really?
Yeah, they call it the Warhammer Christmas Gift-O-Matic.
All right, let's do this quiz.
I figured we'd, do this quiz. And we'll just do me. And we'll see what it says I want, okay?
Okay.
So are they new to Warhammer? I'm going to say no. Because obviously, I do the thing. Dragon or tanks? 40k, so we're going to go with tanks. Clearly. What do they like to do? Read books, paint models, play games. I like to play games. Playing games would be my number one, as I've stated many times before. Painting second, and then building last.
Right.
If I had to put novels in there, it'd be like number 2. But here we go. Do they prefer long novels or short stories? This I have no real preference on. But I would go with short stories. I think they'd fit better if they were short stories. Longer game, quick games. I like to play quick games. I consider myself pretty fast at playing games. Do they need paint tools? New paints or tools to make their models? Nope. Have they painted our models before? Yes. Do they want a new army or existing army? No more new armies for me, please. For the love of God, no more new armies. Existing army. And do they play games at home? I'll say no. Looks like it says they're looking for a 40k unit.
Oh, okay.
It's great. Great projects include Knight Aberrant, Abaddon the Despoiler, and Primaris Intercessors.
Looks like you need some Primaris Intercessors.
I guess I need Abaddon too, and a Knight
Yeah.
Aberrant. So I don't know. I don't think this was the way to find the perfect gift for me.
No, I actually just took it right now as well. And I took it twice because obviously the first question essentially asks, did they play 40k or AOS? I did one for both. So one AOS, one 40k, but the other answers were all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they said I should get the Cadia Stands box and the Slaves to Darkness army set for myself. Okay.
Is that what you want? Is that what you need, John? You want to pay more of that gold trim from the
I
Slaves
don't
of
want to say
Darkness?
no, actually, because for the Slaves to Darkness one, I want to say yes, but the gold trim scares me. And dude, those Cadians are so freaking good. Like I was actually playing around with building a kill team with those Cadia models. But I don't need the giant, well, maybe I do need a giant box for that because I want to use the command squad for bits. But no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm already playing Solar Auxilia for my New Year, New Army.
So out of the 2 times you did it, it was like a 50% chance he got it
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And honestly, if I didn't have a Black Legion project, I would do Slaves to Darkness. Oh, sorry. If I didn't have a Black Legion project and I wasn't so hyped for regular humans to come out in AOS, I would do Slaves to Darkness. So, yeah, for me, it was pretty accurate, I will say.
It's
Good job.
50% accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I did this twice. I don't remember because I did it like way earlier this morning. The first time I did it, I think because I said I played games at home, I believe it said I needed terrain, and I was like, I don't need any terrain.
Yeah.
I know. So far for me, uh, 2 times I've done this, it has been 0% accurate. I mean, I guess I could give it like a 20% because you got the Primaris Intercessors, but I don't really need Primaris Intercessors either. Maybe some extra, but I don't really need them.
Right.
So it's a cool thing, I guess. They tried to, do, but with it being so generic and vague, no way anyone's gonna find the right thing.
Yeah. No way.
So go out and ask the person that you're buying a gift for what they want, because that'll get you a better result than this.
Yeah. Or ask for a gift list from them.
Yes. Well, that was fun to do. But that
That was fun.
is all the Warhammer. Well, I'll talk about it later. That is all the Warhammer news that we have there. We have some other special news to talk about, and that is Star Wars. You want to take it away from here, John? I'm gonna just
Yeah.
play the
So
video while you talk over it.
yeah. So AMG, the guys who make Star Wars Legion, well, now they make Star Wars Legion, X-Wing Armada, and Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is the Marvel-based skirmish game that is out there. I'm sure everyone's seen it. They announced this new game called Star Wars Shatter Point. So it is a new skirmish game set in the Star Wars universe. Now, first thought from everyone is this going to replace Legion? And obviously AMG has said this is not going to replace Legion, but the internet is not going to accept that. They are convinced this will replace Legion because this has happened before. Clearly, no, it hasn't. The only time a game was replaced was Fantasy to AOS. No other company has really replaced a game like this, or like people are suggesting that I know of, at least in the past few years. So, anyways, yeah, just want to clear that this is not going to replace Legion for the reasons relating to what this game actually is. So, this game is a skirmish game, while Legion is a mass battle game. So that's like saying Kill Team is going to replace 40k. No, it's not because they're different things. Legion is again Star Wars 40k. It's you have tons of units, you got vehicles, you got commanders, all that. Most games feature like 30 to 50 models depending on your faction. You um while Shatterpoint is a skirmish game, so you'll be seeing more like no more than 10 models aside, if at that. I think the closest game to compare this to is Marvel Crisis Protocol. So I think the easiest way to describe this game is it is Star Wars Crisis Protocol. So you have, yeah, I've been dabbling in a Crisis Protocol recently. I don't think I'll get into it soon because my favorite heroes aren't there yet. But you're looking at 3 to 4 models aside for that game, and I could imagine this game will be something like that. Maybe a little bit more because there's more generics in this game, like battle droids and single clone troopers. But the battle droids, it's like 3 droids to a base kind of thing. It's not like you have a squad of 6 droids, individual models of the droids, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a skirmish game. And so that's a big difference. The first big difference from Legion. The second big difference from Legion is it is, at least for now, from what they announced, it is only set in the Clone Wars TV show, not the period even, but the TV show. And that translates the designs. So the models look like the Star Wars Clone Wars designs, while as Legion follows the more movie designs. So if you look at the Legion models, they look like the movies, while in Shatterpoint, this design's kind of more exaggerated and more animation like. And this is easily seen if you compare characters in both games, like Obi-Wan or Darth Maul, or Anakin. So yeah, this game already has an aesthetic difference and fluff difference ish with Legion. But that's what the game is. It is a skirmish game set in the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show. And big things with the game is terrain is going to be a big deal. The starter set will come with lots of terrain. It will feature mostly heroes. It's a lot of Jedi if you look at the trailer. It's not, again, a hero leading buckets of dudes. It's squads of Jedi fighting squads of Jedi and some other non-Jedi heroes like Jango Fett, Cad Bane, Fibes and Captain Rex and all that. Bo-Katan, other Mandalorians, Gar Saxon. So mostly like name characters and elite units. However, one thing this will do in relation to Legion, and I'm saying this because I play Legion, Matt plays Legion, people listeners play Legion. I can see this definitely affecting Legion's development in terms of it's gonna draw resources away because that's what happens in with companies that aren't Games Workshop. If you do more games, you're going to draw resources away from other games. Now, my hope is it draws resources away from MCP because MCP has a ton of stuff already, whilst Legion still has, I think, a lot of room for balance and growth. Like an example, what I mean by this is if you look at the factions, right? Like the Empire and the Rebels have 3 troop units for their core, while as the Clone Wars factions, the CIS and the Republic only have 2 troop units, and I think filling those out would make for more rounded factions, and I think AMG should prioritize that more. In while as MCP looks like to be in a good spot, like most of the people's favorite heroes are there. I mean, mine aren't, but I have very specific favorite heroes. But most of the big hitters are there, so the game feels more complete. But I mean, ideally, the game shouldn't draw resources away from any other game. They should have a dedicated team dedicated to working on just this game. And actually, to that point, AMG has stated that they've been working on this game even before they got the rights to Legion and X-Wing and Armada.
That long,
But
huh?
yeah, that long ago. So it's been development for a while. But yeah, so that's Shatter Point, and will I be picking it up? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the designs in Clone Wars. I like the Clone Wars show, but I'm not the biggest fan of the designs in that show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that draws. I mean, if the local game store. I mean, I know the local game store I play it a lot, so I'll probably pick it up. And it seems like it's a skirmish game, so I don't need a billion models to play it. And Star Wars Legion is already very cost wallet friendly compared to Warhammer. And maybe this game might be too. So I'll probably try it out. I haven't committed to going all out on it yet.
Is it safe to assume that this is already all pre-painted?
No, not pre-painted. Good question. It is not pre-painted. It's not like X-Wing or Armada. You gotta paint the models, or you get to paint the models.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, actually, one big difference, point of contention, is even if what I said earlier was true that the game isn't gonna draw resources away from Legion, which is great. Big point of contention is still that this is a different scale to Legion. So this is like if Kill Team had its own models with its own scale. And that's weird. On one hand, yeah, you want to have a different game, right? You want to have this different game that's not related to the other game at all, besides being in the same universe and having the same characters. But on the other hand, well, okay, there's zero cross compatibility. Maybe with terrain. I mean, scale bigger, but buildings are buildings, and I don't think it's gonna look that weird if the tree is bigger because it's a tree. But yeah, the minis are gonna be because Marvel Crisis Protocol minis are way bigger than 40K. Like Iron Man's almost twice the height of a Terminator because it's just a bigger scale.
Well, I mean, of course, it's not going to be the same scale as Legion. Because I mean, it's just like what you said. It's a scrimmage-based game, while Legion is an army-based game.
Yeah.
And as we see, I mean, we can't see it right now because I'm just playing. I'm just recycling the video. You got droids like 3 to a base,
Yep. Yep.
and as cool as it would be to use, my Star Wars Legion models in this game, uh, they got to make money.
Yeah.
The mouse wants its money, so it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a whole different game. You're gonna have to buy all new models to play this. Now, it's not gonna be as probably won't be as expensive as Legion. I mean, granted, I don't think Legion's that expensive, but
Yeah.
it won't be as expensive as Legion because you only
So
need like 5, like John said, like 5,
so
10
actually,
models.
I was thinking about it, and that point is I'm not sure if that point is going to be true. Because I thought that as well, but I realized like MCP models are quite expensive. It's like $50 for 2 characters. You
Hmm.
know. Um.
Well, then
So it
never
might be.
mind. I take back what I said.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause it might be pricey. Now it might be offset by the fact that you only need a few models, but so MCP does this thing which I'm not sure if I like it yet. The points level is determined by the mission, and the mission, like all war games, is determined when you play the game.
Hmm.
So some missions you'll have 4 models, some missions you'll have 6 models. Now you could probably get away with just the 4 models, but you'll be at a disadvantage, right? If you could take more. So you actually, it's not like you can just get 4 models. And again, in MCP, if you don't have the core set or anything, 6 models is over $100. So yeah, it could be pricey, and I hope it's not. But yeah, if the scale is that big, it could just be like that.
Well, I mean, it is going to get pricey regardless. Because, like you and like my other friend who like to play multiple armies, it adds up pretty fast.
Yeah.
Even if it is just, like I said, 5, 10 models. It's gonna, if they're going for $50 a piece, it's gonna add up.
Yep.
I would hope not though, but I don't think there's any price information considering this isn't coming out till 2023 summer.
Right. So yeah, summer 2023. So it's a whiles off. Right, a ways off.
But still, interesting to see. Interesting that they only went with Clone Wars, though. I guess it makes more sense. It's more flushed out, I guess, because this is, you said, based off the Clone Wars series, right?
Yeah, there's the big thing is there's more heroes in Clone Wars. There's more Jedi, and that is one thing Legion is lacking is the lightsaber combat. I mean, even with Warhammer, the melee combat is not that fleshed out because at the end of the day, it's like I swing my sword, I score these hits, you make X saves. Yeah, that's why Primarch fights in 30K aren't that fun after the first 3 times because it's just comparing stats and rolling dice. So, and in Legion, when you have a Jedi, your Jedi swings and the enemy Jedi defends, and then he could either dodge or aim and then swing back, or he could retreat. So the strategy of the fight is there of like, should I run away? Should I dodge and all that? But it's not like, oh, I'm gonna parry versus I'm gonna block versus I'm gonna strike or I'm gonna sidestep, which will give me an advantage if I just stood compared if I stood still, stuff like that. And I think Shatter Point is gonna have more of those kinds of things because MCP is like that. Like MCP, you could pick someone up, throw them, follow up, you could fly, you could jump, do damage to someone, all that stuff. Because there's only 4 to 6 models aside. And I think that's what they're kind of going for with this game where the individual characters, the Jedi can be more like Jedi in this game, hence why Clone Wars probably the better pick for the setting because there's way more Jedi in Clone Wars than the OT or the sequels.
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Clone Wars is probably the most fleshed out
Yep.
of all of Star Wars. It's not really any stories in episodes 4 to 6. those aren't really fleshed out. I mean, they're trying with like Rogue One and whatnot, but just not there, not yet. But there we go. More Star Wars. More Star Wars coming out. And I think that's it in terms of miniature news. Got anything else you want to pop out?
I
Or
think
we
that's
go
it.
to our hobby rants?
Yeah.
Alrighty then, we'll go to hobby rants. So, I'll just start because I didn't really do anything.
No.
So, uh, Fat Shark is who I want to say. The people who made Dark Tide
Yes.
announced that if you play the beta, aka if you pre-ordered the game and you're playing the beta right now, your data will transfer over to the live game.
That's good.
They were wishy-washy about it earlier, and then like the next day after, they like, yeah, we're gonna transfer everything over. So that's what I've been doing. I've been
I,
playing some Dark Tide and having a blast.
that's good.
It is, I will say, it is very mindless, but that is most hack and slash games, especially if you reminisce about the Left 4 Dead era. Definitely could use a little bit more improvements, but other than that, you play with your friends, you're gonna have a good time, and that's all I want from the game, especially at its price point. I just want to have fun with the game.
Right. What class
Uh,
do you play?
when I played the first beta, I tried out the Preacher. In this beta, I am the Sharpshooter.
Okay.
Cause I'm like, I want to be an Imperial Guardsman. That's what I want to be.
Yeah, I would probably play a similar character with the last gun. Because if I wanted to stab people, I'd just play Vermintide or something.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. And the game comes out in 2 more days
Yeah.
officially. So I did that. I dropped off my bits and my crypt horrors to my friend to help me, pay him to make me some good looking chaos spawn, hopefully.
Hmm.
Because, like I said, I hate building, and converting is not my strong point. So I just pawn that off to someone else to do. So hopefully I get something out of it. Hopefully before the LVO happens. But we'll go with that. And yeah, and because it was Thanksgiving over here, didn't get to meet up with my group. So I didn't get really to do anything board game or tabletop wise with them. What about you? I know you got your 30K game in.
Yeah, so been the local game store DTTs in Burbank has had a 30K night every Friday, and I've been showing up playing some Heresy. Been busting out my Mechanicum, and it's kind of funny because a lot of people who play there are new to Heresy, or at least played a bit of 1.0, not too much, so they've never played Mechanicum, so it's kind of fun just and for everyone that you're playing an army that isn't Space Marines, they're
Mm-hmm.
playing against an army that isn't Space Marines, it's kind of interesting. But when it goes to the bigger games where it's more competitive, not necessarily tournament level, but like, you know, your decisions matter more, your list building matters more in the way that 1000 point games are just kind of for fun in 30K.
Yeah.
But when you play 3K against Mechanicum, it's just funny to see people just realize that, oh yeah, like all like the meta, especially the online meta, really just talks about Space Marines because suddenly like, well, this unit's not that amazing anymore because it can't deal with relatively high toughness multi-wound robots. Or shoot, I this blob of Terminators will get deleted by my plasma mortars because Space Marines don't have an equivalent of strength 8, rending for up plasma large blast markers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
oh no, like you have a gun that could one shot a Spartan, so now my Death Star isn't so Death Starry because it just like I have the tools to blow up a Spartan turn one quite easily because that's what my army does. So it's just interesting to see that kind of interaction where it's like, oh yeah, the game is more than just Space Marines. I mean, it's 90% Space Marines just because of the availability of the armies. We might see more Custodes though, because the book is going to come out soon in the US, and most 40k Custodes armies are going to be compatible in 30k. So probably going to see that more. But for yeah, that's a fun time just playing games with people and then realizing that like yeah, it's more than just Space Marines. So be doing that and played Magic for the first time in my life.
Oh
With
yeah, with the
the Chaos deck. Yeah.
mm,
Played two games because the first game I wasn't really playing, and by that I meant I draw I drew three lands or two. Was it two or three lands? Some small number of lands, and I couldn't summon anything because all the spells I had on my hand were like high cost spells. So I'm like, well, and it was a multiplayer game. It was three of us just playing casually, chatting, and it's like, well, I can't really do anything because I can't summon anything. So it didn't even feel like I was playing. I was mostly just watching and reading my cards the whole time. Because when it was my turn, it was just like, well, I've got to draw and it's not a land. All right, your turn. But the next game, I did get to summon more stuff and it was pretty fun. It was one of those games where it's kind of like Munchkin. And if you've ever played Munchkin,
only
where
once.
yeah, it's kind of game where it's not like it's very swingy where the winning turns are like on the final few turns where someone kills someone and then they get killed in return, or someone instantly blows two people up before they die or something.
Hmm.
It was just like the game went from relatively even to just someone instantly won, or then you know our win conditions happen over the course of two turns, and then the guy who won, right? So that was kind of funny and fun. It's a fun time. I don't think I'll be getting into Magic more than just this deck. Although I did say that if or when they release AOS commander decks, I would get them because I love the AOS art. But unless the Warhammer related, I don't think I'll be interested in that part of Magic. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I did enjoy it when I first got my commander deck and played it with my group of people. Good times, of course. I apparently went with the most OP deck in the out of the collection. So
The Necron one.
the Necron one, yeah. It's not my fault, okay? If
Yeah,
they had Eldar, I would have gone Eldar, but they ain't got no Eldar.
they don't got my Eldar for sure.
But yeah, pretty cool. I'll unfortunately be out of town this week, so I will not be gaming again. I'll probably do a couple Dark Tides before I head out, but that's about it.
All right.
All right then. Oh, I think that's a good place to call it. So I'd like to thank everyone who made it to the end of this video. And you know what? We'll see you next time.
Later, everyone.